All right, we are recording. Let's go ahead and get started. So first off, thank you everybody for jumping on. I know Mr. David Jones has been crushing it on Mondays, and if y'all didn't know, David and I are very competitive. So he is causing me to up my game, and I love it. And he's just been doing so good. So I just want to say thank you to him, and it's given me another night with my family, and that is so appreciative. I want to make sure that this family is also taken care of, the Kayani family, and I feel completely secure and know that I've got such a great person there being able to pick up the reins and go with that, and it's just been so great. So thank you, sir, for doing that, and thank you all for participating. Continue on and showing him the love that he deserves. So tonight, what I wanted to talk to everybody about is three main things. I'll go ahead and lay them out for you. So for y'all that are liking to take notes, this is not a new topic. In fact, I believe all topics that we do in this business are not new. Everybody needs to be reminded of them, though. They need to be dusted off from time to time, and that's what's so good about Power Hour. When I had my time off with the young one and the newborn, and getting to spend that time, one of the things that I kept reflecting on is how powerful Power Hour is. Not that, and there's going to be, if you're brand new, you're hearing things you never heard before, I get it, but once you've been to a few of these, you're going to start to understand, it's like, man, it's kind of the same stuff, just said differently, and what's so important is you need to hear that differently, and that's what that campfire being around is all about. So the three things that we're going to discuss tonight are anything you do, you got to have a destination, step one, you got to have a vehicle to get there, step two, and you got to know how to operate and drive that vehicle for step three. It doesn't matter if you're trying to solve a math problem, you've got a desire. What's the desire? I want to solve this math problem. Why? Because my grade depends on it. Keeps me in college or not. Whatever that, my parents get mad at me, whatever. Then after that, need a vehicle. You could do it by hand, but it's a whole lot better if you got a calculator. And then after that, it doesn't matter if you've got a greatest TI-82. I remember that calculator from my days. That was the best calculator ever. But when it's all said and done, if you don't know how to turn the darn thing on, it doesn't matter how fancy, how much you spent, $200 on the calculator, that's fine. If you don't know how to turn the damn thing on, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter one bit. And so that's what I want to remind everybody with what we do. Let's see if that's a little bit better so y'all can see me. What we do in this business is the exact same thing. You have got to know what you desire to do. That's the easy one. You've got to know if there's a vehicle out there. That's the easy one. You're already in. The next one is driving the vehicle. That's the one that kicks everybody out. That's when fear shows up. Because when you don't know how to do something, your mind starts imagining that there's a problem. Here's the deal. If you don't know how to do Kayani, if you don't know how to say something to somebody or the right words to say or how to do this whole thing, I would say there's probably a 0% chance that someone's going to reach across there and start eating on you. They're not going to eat you. They're not going to shoot you. You're not going to die. Okay? So the fears that we have, so many of our fears are so irrational. They're not going to come true. There's not going to be an issue, but we get in our own head. And that's where this business and every other thing that is meaningful to people is lost. If you'll stick with something long enough, you'll figure it out. That's all there is to it. Keep that consistency of focusing on what it is you desire, and that will keep you in the game. And when you stay in the game long enough, you figure it out. And in almost all situations, you realize, and you hear this said all the time, I was making this harder than I needed to. You need to see if that fits with your business. You got to try that jacket on and see if it fits. If it does, well, now you know where you're at. You're making it harder than it needs to be. The fear shows up. And that fear can take on an infinite number of possibilities. And that's why people drop out of the business, is because of that fear. They don't know how to drive the car. I cannot think of anybody that's going to give up because they gave up on their dreams. That's not the thing. They didn't give up on their dreams. The fear was too much, and that's when they gave up on their dreams. Nobody comes up and just one day says, you know what? I wanted to make $1 million. I don't want to make $1 million anymore. They don't give up on the dream. They give up because the fear came in and it beat them down long enough, and they didn't hit their result in the timeline that they had in their head, and that timeline was probably too short. The effort expended was too little, and the consistency was not there. Because human beings are pretty damn amazing that if we stick to something long enough, we figure it out. We're very adaptable. We're also very lazy when we get comfortable. When we get comfortable, the desire is not as high. It sounds good. Seems like it'd be a good goal to have, but that we're just telling ourselves we're not serious about it. We're not convicted enough about it. So in the past couple chats we've had, I've talked a lot about really digging in on step one, the destination, the why. Why are you doing it? Spending that quiet time with yourselves. Is everybody doing that? Is everybody sitting in a quiet spot and spending at least 10 minutes a day just thinking quietly and focused on you, on what you desire? Hopefully you're doing that. The vehicle, we summed that up. I think I did it, and I think I timed myself in 16 seconds on what it is that we actually do in this business. So I'm not going to spend a whole lot of time on that right now. You can go watch a Jade Factory launch. There's a video of that's out there. You can find it on my YouTube channel. I'm sure somebody's posted it into this thread here recently, and I bet you somebody will post it before I'm done tonight. That's the how. That ain't the issue. But it comes down to that last, the mechanics of it. But it comes down to the how. How do I drive the car? That part's simple. It's the mind that gets in the way. It's the fear that gets in the way. So that's the part that I really want to focus, that third part. Because that fear can manifest in a couple of ways. It'll happen when you're about ready, you finally get you finally just suck it up and you're like, I am going to call this person today. It's going to happen. And then you get there and you're just about to do it, and then you think ahead and you're like, man, what are they going to think? And then you put the phone back down. You don't send the text. You got into your own head. You're focusing and you're being selfish by thinking about yourself on what are they going to think about me. You're focusing on you. That's a big fear that gets a lot of people. Another one is, what happens when I get down the road? Am I going to know what to tell them to do or what the next step is? So if you don't have that understanding of what it is, and you're not clearly, consciously, absolute clarity on what it is that we do, that's going to cause another level of fear. You remember when you were driving? I'm driving right now, so it popped in my head. You remember when you first got your license and you made it back from the DMV, you got your shiny license, or you got your paper, probably certificate, and whoever it was that was with you, maybe it was your parents, maybe you did it on your own, whatever. There was somebody that was always in the car with you because you had a learner's permit. And then all of a sudden, you car to yourself. I remember this vividly. I was on my way to go play tennis. I was in high school at the time, and I was going to practice, and I was so pumped. I had my tennis racket next to me in the passenger seat. I was by myself, and I want you to know that I was a freaking scaredy cat mess, dude. I got them at 10 and 2. I am looking at every mirror. I am freaking 2.5 miles away from the car in front of me. It was ridiculous, right? And when you first get started, you're so worried about all those things. And then you get a little bit better and a little bit better. And now you don't even think about it. You're 13 feet away from the guy in front of you. You're talking on here, doing a Zoom. You're probably eating a sandwich and you got a drink over here and you're clipping your nails. I mean, that's the type of stuff that people do now. It's insane, right? You don't even think about the fact that you're about to die and take others with you. It's just, it's crazy, the shift that you go through. That fear that you have in the beginning lets you know that you're doing something new. Courage is not the absence of fear. It is acting in the face of fear. Nobody won the Medal of Honor for courage that wasn't deathly afraid of what they were about to go do. But they did it anyway, and that's the key. You've got to have courage in this to be able to move forward. You've got to have something to fight for in your why to cause you in the face of that fear to go do it. So you either going to act in front of that fear. Now, if somebody's shooting at you, that is a valid fear. That's not the one I'm talking about. I'm talking about the made up one that's in our head. There's like something like 40% of our fears are based on things that will never happen. Like another 30% are fearful of things that have happened in the past, and you keep messing with yourself replaying it. And then there's 20% of them, I got these numbers, and then the last part is like 8% is real fear. That's like the people shooting at you. That's the real fear. That's a good one, okay? You could get shot. But we do this to ourselves. You've really got to look at this on you. If you can make that fear disappear, then you don't have to do anything courageous. You simply type, you simply talk, you simply listen. So that's a good way to knock the fear down as well, is to understand and get clear on where's my anxiety coming from. Let's put a spotlight on that for a second and figure out what that is. What am I fearful that's going to happen? They're not going to do this? Well, that's about me. I need to worry about them. When you make it over that hump, this business gets so stinking easy. Right now, Mr. David Jones, I'm gonna gush on him a little bit because he has kept me so stinking busy. Mr. Brian Pinso as well, Tara Bush, a lot of folks have been keeping me extra. Eddie Blacknell, a lot of people have been really keeping me busy here lately. And it's because there's no fear, and there's no fear not because they're like He-Man now or something. They just got past that irrational fear, and they said, I'm here to help somebody. If they don't like it, man, it's a whole lot easier. I used to get really fearful of going up on stage because I was afraid everybody's going to laugh at me. Man, I'm stupid, everybody's going to laugh. And I was like, dude, they came here to see you get up on stage. All my fear was gone. When I sit there and I'm looking at Diamond University and there's 150, 200 people in front of in the crowd, and I'm looking at all of it, and then I decide I'm going up on stage. Where there, and I'm like, what do you have butterflies for? You've got the goods to be able to share with these people. Getting ready to pack some lunch. I'll walk out there, and I'm not thinking about me. I'm thinking about what I'm going to bring to somebody else. All the fear goes away. It's so crazy how that happens. So consider that. If you've got fear, if you're not reaching out to the people that we doing, because again, we type, we talk. We find out if they got something wrong with them on the health, wealth, time, or significance side. And if they want to fix it, we know a guy. So there's your mechanical training again in 14 seconds. So what's keeping everybody from being higher up in the ranks than they are where they are right now? Are you at the rank that you want to be? Are you at the point where you want to be with this business? If you're not, chances are you're not reaching out to enough people. Well, I've talked to everybody. Call them again. Well, I don't want to bother them. Well, that's back to you again. Well, they said they weren't interested. Has your life ever changed before? Have you said something and then later you said, you know what, that was the case then and now there's a different circumstance in a different situation? Is anybody here's life not different than it was 3 months ago? I can guarantee you mine is a whole lot different from 3 months ago. I got a fourth kid. I'm retired from corporate America. I mean, holy smokes. My life has been completely different in 3 months. So because of that, do you think it might make sense to reach back out to some people that you've reached out to before? We've got people coming back into the business that were in the business before and they dropped out for whatever reason, and it was a significant reason, or they would still be in. And when we come back to them, we just tell them, say, hey, here's what we're doing. Do you still have this dream? Yeah, man, absolutely. That's never went away. Okay. Do you believe this is still a good vehicle? I do. Well, then what's it? I just don't know how. They don't know how to drive the car. We show them, here's how we're driving the car. See how much simpler driving school is? See how much easier this is? See how you can tell it to other people? Holy smokes, let's do this thing. Boom. Whole bunch of people showing back up that you haven't seen in a while. It always comes down to that. It always comes down to that fear. Get past that and focus on what that person's fear is. When I talk to people, when I'm doing a closing with them, I'm listening to what they're saying and finding where their fear is. And when I find their fear, I'm relating to them and let them know they're not crazy. It's not an irrational fear. It's a real fear from that perspective that you are experiencing it. But it is irrational from a perspective of you shouldn't be feeling it, and here's why. I have to show them why there's no monsters underneath the bed. You laugh now, but that was a big deal a couple years ago for y'all, right? Me too. It's like, oh, what's in the closet? What's under the bed? And I mean, you sit there, covers pulled up to your nose, freaking the hell out that there's something underneath your bed getting ready to eat your toes if you don't have under the blanket. It was a real fear. Not, was it irrational? Absolutely. Unless you watch Monsters, Inc. and then you know it's a real thing. But anyway, some of y'all get that and then watch that show. My point of all of that is it real to them? Yes. Is it irrational? Yes. You need to show them how there's no monsters underneath the bed with this thing. You need to understand what it is that's holding them back. We get so freaking fired up sometimes, and I am the world's worst about this, where I just want to grab a bat to people's heads sometimes. It's like, are you kidding me? And then I have to calm down and say, look, smart guy, a couple years ago, you weren't so smart. You didn't have all that figured out. You were in the same spot with the same irrational fear. So instead of being holier than thou and not being the guy that went through the exact same steps that they went through, let's understand where they're coming from. Because what they're saying isn't where it's coming from. What they're saying isn't the thing that's holding them back. They don't want to tell you what's holding them back because it's the same thing as monsters underneath the bed holding them back. They just don't want to articulate it. They haven't even observed it about themselves yet. You got to understand that's the only thing that's holding people back is a fear of something. You got to identify that fear. You got to squash it like a bug. And then you need to show them that there is a possibility for them to do that. When they don't do something, it's not because they didn't want to help their family. It's not because they didn't want to get healthier. It's not because they didn't want more time to go do what they want to do. Who on their right mind is going to say that? Well, then why won't they do anything? Because they're afraid, just like you're afraid of things too. And how you were afraid of doing something like this at some point in your life, or you would have been doing it since you were 12. So consider that about the other guy. Consider that about where they're coming from. Consider it about yourself first to get yourself into action. But then right after that, from an advanced topic, you got to then focus. This is how advanced it is. Put yourself in their shoes. Do the whole golden rule thing. It's never been said better. Do unto others as you would like done unto you. Somebody thought enough of you to help you through that process, and that's why you're here. Pay that forward to the next person. Let them know that you're here for them. And do it in an empathetic way, not in I got to get you in the boat. I need this transaction because daddy needs to make J. No. Do it for them. Put the oxygen mask on the other person. Now, like I said, you got to get you squared away first. You got to put that oxygen mask on you first so that your fear goes away and you identify what's causing that fear. And you get past that by taking action and understanding it's about the other person. When you do that, everything falls away. All of your nonsense. If you're in a bad mood, I promise you, if you will focus on somebody else, you will be out of a bad mood. It is the fastest, quickest way. When you're upset, you got a lot of nonsense going on in your day. Not saying that stuff didn't happen, but your choice and how you're going to react to that will absolutely be changed if you will focus on somebody else's needs. You can instantaneously change your outlook on the day by doing that. You can instantaneously change your business tonight by focusing on the other person, truly focusing on them. Another thing I want to say, typing and talking. I want to revise that. Typing and talking and then shutting up. I did a slide at Diamond University and I want to share it with everybody here. Just visualize this for me. You got one mouth as a picture of a mouth. I guess it was lips. And then you've got a picture of a set of ears, 2 ears. You got to talk, but then you got to listen and truly listen and not listen how most people listen, which is I'm going to be quiet now until they stop moving their lips so that I can say something witty and important about me. That's how most people do their listening. They're not listening. They're just not talking. So definitely don't do the talk. Ask questions, then zip the mouth, but truly listen on what they have. And then the next step that's going to happen is you're going to get a little flabbergasted sometimes, because you then want to start talking and you want to help them. You've got to help. I need to tell them all this stuff I learned at Diamond University on Science Friday, or on Power Hour with Mr. David Jones, or this thing I heard at this event, or whatever. And you want to share all that. There's a time for that. But if you find yourself going on for more than a minute, probably talking too much and showing how smart you are, time to get back to them, because they stop listening about 15 seconds in. You got to make it about them. You got to start it off by making it about them. Okay? So here's what I want to do also for some time. I haven't done this in a while, and I wanted to do it tonight. I want people to share. I want you to unmute yourself, and then when you get done, make sure you mute yourself back when you're done talking. But I want you to share an example of you being out and talking to somebody, how the conversation went. I want to do not necessarily role playing, but I want to do the old plan, do, review, adjust. These power hours are for planning. We're planning what we're going to do. Y'all known what we've been doing. A lot of y'all are in action. For those that have been in action, I'd like for you to unmute yourself and say, here's what happened. Now, let me be really clear. I want to know what happened. I don't want to know the backstory. I don't want to know how you've known them and for 30 years of history. I don't want to know any of that. I want to know, here's this person, here's what I said, here's what they said, here's what I said, here's what they said. That's what I'm looking for. And then what I want to do is I want to review that. And everybody, I want them to review that. This makes these concepts real. This cements it in, because it's really easy to sit there and listen to me talk and going on and on and on and on. And you're like, man, this all sounds good. And then when we get done, you get it out of your trance and you're like, okay, now what am I supposed to do? So I want to be able to have this where you guys share some examples of what you've done. And I want to be able to adjust. And I want to adjust the theory. I'm not so worried about the script. I will give you an example of, hey, here might be an idea, but I don't want you to write it down specifically word for word. I want you to write down the big points on, hey, if I would have done something different, such as this, with this theory, I would maybe have a better result. Or maybe not. I just want to be able to offer that up because I found that it's very useful and it makes this concrete. So if anybody would like to unmute themselves, give me an example. Awesome. I love it. Every time you're first. Love it.
All right. So coworker at work came up to me and said, I hear you sell weight loss things or something like that. Huh? I said, what are you talking about, Willis? She says, no, I said, who told you that? What are you talking about? So dig for her. Anyways, then I said, I don't know what you're talking about. She says, well, you know, I got this extra 20 pounds that I'm trying to lose, you know, this, that, and the other, and I just can't get rid of it. And I just need something, and da-da-da-da-da-da. Okay, just let her talk. Just let her,
yep.
Oh, girl, in this place here, I'm frustrated, like da-da-da-da-da. All of the drama that's going on at the office. Just let her talk. Yep. And I said, well, you know, it might help you. I don't know with weight loss or not, but that's not my deal right now. I said, you actually need to talk to David Jones. Because, you know, and she knows who David Jones is. She knows he is associated with me. He is my boyfriend, but she doesn't know him outside of that. Never met him. So I said, you actually speak to him about that. I can put you in a three-way text with him, or how would you like that done? An email? What's best for you? And she said, no, put me in a three-way text. Goes back into discussing the upset at work. You know, they're not valuing her, ready to move on. I want to do something else, but I don't want to go change to another company because it's the same thing. Let her talk. I said, hey, girl, you really need to talk to Mr. Jones because he's got a master plan going on. You really want to be a part of this. You want to be a part of what he's got going on, and you might find yourself out of corporate America by the end of this year. You never know. You need to talk to him. And she said, that's what I'm looking for. She says, you know, I do Mary Kay right now. And I said, well, then there you go. You already have the mindset. Talk to Mr. Jones. Put him in a three-way. And she has not gotten through on the three-way with him and been following up on her word. So she saw me at the office yesterday. She says, oh, crap, came up to me and said, of integrity, I haven't called Mr. Jones. And she goes back into griping about the office. Let her roll. Yep. I hear you. I got you, girl. Yeah, I understand. You ready to fix that? What do you mean? She says, I said, have you talked to Mr. Jones yet? No, I haven't. She says, will you write that down on a sticky note? I know I have it in my phone, but I'm going to go put that in my thing right now. I'm going to call him tonight. Well, that was last night. She didn't call. Or did she? Okay. We haven't got there. Did she, baby?
Okay.
She called today because when I was in the office for a few hours, she saw me. She goes,
that worked.
And so there is somebody at the office that I don't have to, hey, there's the back of my head. Hey, y'all. So shiny object moment, my bad. So at the end of the day, I don't worry about damaging a relationship at work. I listen to a coworker. She's got frustrations. Hey, you need to go talk to this person.
Absolutely.
If it was somebody different that didn't know who David Jones was associated, I would have probably said, hey, I know a guy after I listened to all of that. But just played it because he knows. So
I love it. So here's the review. Yep. And we just reviewed it. So now the adjustment. 0 adjustment needed. That is textbook, absolute, perfect, unbelievable, following the Jade Factory philosophy. You listen, you heard where she's coming from, you let her go. You didn't jump in right away, because if you did, you would have missed the extra information that she was going to give. That's the part where I tell people is like, look, depending on how much time you want to invest in this other human being's life, it really comes down to that. And when you think about it that way, it's like, well, man, I guess I need to spend a little bit more time, with this person. Because when we get in transactional mode, it's like you're looking at the clock and you're going, good Lord, droning on and on and on and on. And when you're in transactional mode, you're going, man, not a good ROI here. I'm spending so much time with this person and I'm not going to get this transaction that's going to make $25. I've sit here for 30 minutes, and if they do become a customer, that's $50 an hour. You start doing all that math. I promise you, your business is not going to duplicate. I promise you, it's not going to do what you want it to do. You're going to go in the slash and burn method. It's not going to sustain, and your business is going to fall apart. Now, it depends on how long you want to spend with them. I've got a limit. It's my personality type. But I have done that enough where now I've got a lot more time that I will spend with somebody. I'll sit there and build that relationship stronger, because that will then continue to pay off and impact that much more. So powerful how you went down that. So powerful what you did. And also I want to call out something that's very interesting, is that was at least 4, maybe 5 exposures that occurred. I wanted to find an exposure on what Tara did. She had a conversation, that was first one, and then came back another time and heard about her complaining about work. There's another exposure when she went on that side. So she did customer side, she did business side on 2 different possibilities, 2 check marks on the plan on the page that she wants health and she wants wealth, and identify that from her, and then had another conversation and then another conversation. And what's so powerful about it is because the relationship was there, Tara's not chasing her for a transaction. She's not chasing her saying, oh, please sign up underneath me. Please sign up and be my customer. Please sign up and be my business partner. I got to hit this rank. No, it's like, look, we got a thing. And then it was done in such a way that the other person realizes, like, crap, I didn't call. I didn't say a word. That's on your brain because she's serious. That's the weighing of it. That's the needle moving, going, yep, this person needs this. And then she knows it's just a matter of time. We know it's a matter of time until she comes in. We know it's a matter of time until she contacts. And we had to write it down 6 different ways. 5, 6 exposures right then and there. They don't have to be earth-shattering, every one of them 30 minutes, but each one of them served a purpose and continued the process. And when she's ready to be harvested, if you want to think about it from that perspective of planting seeds, when she's ready, she's going to be ready. When it's ripe, it's going to be ripe. Well, how long is that going to take? We don't know. It depends on the person. It depends on what they're desiring. It depends on what their fears are. So the next thing that's going to need to happen is, hey, you got a destination. You told me you want to lose 20 pounds. You also told me that you might want to get out of this job. There's 2 destinations. Do you have a vehicle for doing that? No, that's why we're talking. Cool. Let me explain to you how this vehicle works. And going to give some information in that vein. There will be a tip over point with her where she's going to hear all that, and then the fear is going to step in. Well, I've tried everything before, and I can't lose these last 20 pounds. Or "Yeah, I'm comfortable with this job." She's not comfortable. She just told you she's not comfortable. She's trying to justify the monsters under the bed. You got to let her know, it's like, look, you don't know how to do this, and it's scary, and it's easy to fall back into that, but is that what you want to do? Well, and if you continue down that path, they will eventually tell you their fear. They will share it with you. And when you've got that identified, then you pretty much 95% of the way there, and pretty good chance they're going to join you in either being a customer or business partner, because it's the vehicle they've been looking for. It might not be exactly what they were thinking of, but it's going to get them there. And they will take action on that. I've been looking for something. Very rarely, I've been looking for exactly this thing. That doesn't happen too often. Sometimes it does. But mostly, I've been looking for something. I didn't know what. I knew I wanted to go somewhere. Didn't know how I was going to get there. And then they're all fired up and excited because they're finally making progress on those promises. And then the fear kicks in. Be ready for that with every single person, and identify it, understand it. And when you hear it all, make sure that you continue re-enrolling them. Let them know that there is a path. You have to keep reminding them. Then you get to a point where you don't have to remind them anymore, and they become one of your leaders and one of your influencers. And it's like, that's one of my shooters. That's somebody that's going to go over there. The definition of my shooters are people that put bullets in other terrorists' heads. That's what a shooter does. When they have the ability to influence another human being, to put a bullet in their head temporarily so that they can see straight and have a taste of freedom, then they'll do it. And then eventually they got to go through and they got to kill their own terrorists, or they got to know how to kill them, because he keeps regenerating. He keeps coming back. I don't think I've ever met anybody that has completely killed all their terrorists. I haven't ran into that person yet. Person, I want to be clear when I'm saying person. Might have ran into other things that have seen that, but not people. All right. Ms. Tara, that's awesome. I appreciate you sharing that. All right, let's get another one in. Somebody unmute themselves. Tell me, just like Ms. Tara did, she didn't give me war and peace on the background of this person, but she gave me enough to understand the story. So somebody else do the same thing. That was a great model of it.
Casey? Betty.
Betty, how are you?
I'm doing great. Thank you. I had a girl, Lindsay, and when I was at the dentist, I had a package of Kyani, gave to her. She thought the drink was great. And so then I told her about how good the product she was asking. And so then she knew there'd be a business opportunity with it. And I said, yes, we'll get together if you're that, and go through that. So when James Bradford was on the other night, I said, if you really want information, to go into the Zoom and get that. And she said, yeah, she would. And then awesome. I called her back, and she didn't go in on Zoom. She says, oh no, it's MLM, it's multi-level, and I'm not a salesperson, and I'm not interested. And she hung up on me. So now, I don't know what to do now, because I was so shocked that she hung up on me, because I wasn't finished talking, explaining, saying, let's just meet, and then we can go through it, differently.
Yep.
So what did I do wrong?
You didn't do anything wrong. Not a single thing did you do wrong, in my opinion. You've got somebody that was extremely fearful, and that's because they burnt their hand on the stove, and you showed up with a flamethrower. That's effectively what happened. And they saw that monster, and they went running. It was an irrational thing. It was completely irrational for her to hang up on you. Who does that? That's in their right mind. She was absolutely 100% fearful. She remembered something that she'd done in the past. Right. It's already happened. She is allowing that to continue to influence her future. She obviously was interested in something in the beginning, or you wouldn't have gotten to that point in the conversation. So she has desires. She's just tried a vehicle that looks like this, and she's completely fearful that this is the same thing, and so she's not interested in doing that. So here's what I would say to do. First off, again, you didn't do anything incorrect on that.
Okay.
She's not hungry enough on it. She's letting an irrational fear. There's some people that it doesn't matter that you're holding up a little garden snake that's not going to do anything to you, But if you're fearful of snakes and a deathly afraid, you're going to freak smooth out. And it doesn't matter that you're saying, well, no, this one's not going to hurt you. Doesn't matter. Don't care. Completely shut down. I have no idea what's going on. You can approach her and you say, look, what you did hanging up on me, first off, I don't appreciate it. That's how I would do it. I'd tell her how I feel. I don't like how you did that. That's not cool. But I am worried about you, and that's why I thought enough of you to call you back and see if you would at least get on the phone. So I appreciate you getting on the phone with me. You've got a story. What the heck happened to you that you thought it would be a good thing to hang up on me because I'm asking you to look at something? You completely misinterpreted what it is that you saw so far that you would hang up on me. What happened?
Okay.
And see if you can get the story out of her on where this crazy fear is coming from. If she won't do that, you're going to just have to say, look, good luck to you. Hope you're doing well.
Okay. Yeah, I wasn't sure how to call her back because it still has bothered me. And I let a few days go by, and then I was thinking, well, I should approach her again because she was so excited and she wanted to own her own business. She wanted to get healthier. Yeah. She's got friends in Calgary, because she lives in the past now too, in Calgary, that need help. And then all of a sudden she just froze and she just hung up, and I was still flabbergasted by it, but it just
she associated you with the pain of her past, and she was not ready to confront that pain, and she took it out on you. She didn't do it maliciously. She doesn't dislike you. She just dislikes that event in her life, and you reminded her and you triggered that in her.
Okay.
You didn't do anything other than you just showed up. It's like some people see people. I've had people come up. I remember a guy in junior high came up and punched me out of the blue. Don't know this guy. What the hell? I reminded him of somebody. And, man, I will tell you, I chased him down the next day and I beat the crap out of him because that wasn't going to work for me. And I was tired of being bullied. That's a separate thing. What caused that to happen? Why did somebody just think that would be a good idea? You triggered something in somebody else. That was it.
Okay.
That was it. So then it comes down to, is it worth it to you? Is your desire to help somebody like that? What's the situation with you and how you feel about that person? That's what it comes down for me. If that person's somebody that I want to help, I'm going to spend some effort and pull them out of the muck. There's other times when somebody does that, I'm like, you know what? You're going to just have to drown. That's probably not the greatest Christian thing of me to do, but I don't desire to deal with people that are going to be that way. That's just me. That's my choice to make. You got to make that choice on this person. Is that somebody that you want to be able to go out and deal with? Do you want to help them out of that? Because there's going to be an investment of time for you to help them through that and say, look, what happened? Hear the story. If they'll even share it with you, they might shut you down and you don't have the opportunity. Oh, well, that's them. That's their choice. That's on them. It sucks. I will tell you that. Worst part of this business for me is when you want it worse for somebody than they want it for themselves. And they're so blinded by that fear that they won't even look. What really sucks is when it comes down to their health. It's one thing from a business perspective. It's another when it's their health. It's like, you idiot. If you would just try this darn thing, let's see what would happen. I'm not saying it's going to fix you. I'm just saying there's a damn good chance it's going to. Let's find out. Nope. Not going to try it. I know better. It's like, what the hell? And that's the one that hurts. That's the one that hurts the worst. It's like, how would you not even try the darn thing? It's another fear. It is a fear that they've had hope. They've had it snatched from them. That pain that they feel as a result of that hope being squashed at that time is worse than what they're dealing with. Some people say that's not possible. It's absolutely a fact. Because if they truly wanted to fix it, they'd take some action, wouldn't they?
Yeah. Because I know I let that one you helped me with last fall, and I just let her go. But Lindsay's she's got something about her that I feel that she'd be great, and she needs it for her health. And then reason she wanted some business is because she's only part-time, and she wanted to create a retirement and different things like that, a business. but I don't know what
Yep.
happened in her life. All of a sudden she moved from Calgary here, and all of a sudden she is just kind of different. So it just kind
You
of
know,
blew away. So I'm going to try
Betty, over the
again
years,
tomorrow, maybe. Yeah.
Betty, over the years, I've found that what people say is so far from what's actually going on in their brain. It's just fascinating. It's like their lips and their brain
Oh,
got
see, and I take
disconnected
people at the
somehow.
word. So yeah.
And that is, and I would prefer to do that, but I
Okay.
have found that people just are not honest and they're not speaking truly what's going on. It's so far from what they really wanted to say or what's really going on. It's just years and years and years of just piling that up, I guess. I don't know what, man. I mean, you hear about it from the old times of, like, people, they had a problem with you, they'd tell you they got a problem with you. Now everybody's best friend when they can't stand the person they're saying that to, and then they talk behind their back the next day. It's just it's crazy. So just because somebody said that, that's not necessarily what's going on. And you can tell the difference if you can get in a true conversation with somebody and not a superficial conversation, one that's
Right.
just, going through the motions. When it's a real one, when somebody's really touching that and they're really there and speaking. Was most of the time they're just regurgitating, 95% of the time they're just regurgitating the same old story that they've been telling for a long time. They just go on automatic pilot on, oh, somebody said hello. Okay, run program 2. All right, program 2 says, say hello back. Ask them how the weather is. Ask them how their family's doing. Okay, yep, then they're going to ask you how you're doing. You're going to lie about how much you love your job and how much you're crushing it. And then you're going to talk about, well, I really want to do this other thing because that sounds good. And to be honest with you, I don't have the clue. I don't have any idea how I'm going to get there. I'm just going to say that, and then I can finish up this conversation and go on about my way and have a burrito. That's honestly how most people operate. You got to break through that. You got to dig into that if they'll let you. Now, here's the other thing, and I say this all the time. Just because you want them to do that doesn't mean they want to do it. By her actions, she's going to determine if she really wants to do it.
Okay. Yeah, because I said to her, can I call you and make appointments? So she said, well, call. She's off like tomorrow. So I'll call her tomorrow and see if she'll meet me for coffee. So I'll buy you a coffee. And then I can go from there, but I didn't know what, it just threw me and I wasn't sure how to handle it or how to go back
get
to her,
her
what to say.
Yeah, get her to say, what in the world, and don't throw any shade on her when you do it. Just come in completely positive and say, and do it as almost like when your kid does something completely dumb and you look at him and you just smile because it's like, that was really stupid. I know it was stupid. You know it was stupid. You're young. You don't know any better. It irritates me. You broke the thing. We know, but you know what? It's like, what were you thinking? What happened? Go in with that instead of beating them down and causing a defensive mechanism. Go in with that loving spirit of just, okay, you got to tell me, girl, what in the world happened for you to have your spaz moment like you did? And let's just go ahead and call it was a spaz moment. And I'm good. I know you didn't mean that against me. I know you didn't. And if she said, well, I did mean it against you, then you get up, you pay for your coffee, and you go on about your day, and you leave that person be. They're broken, and you ain't going to fix them.
Right. Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Appreciate
I love it.
it.
Very good. You're very welcome. I appreciate you you sharing what's going on. Let's do one more, and then we're going to call it a night. Who wants to be the last one for the evening? One more example. Somebody talk to somebody. Just play one back.
I can go if you want me to.
Please, I do.
Okay, so I went to mail something at post boxes, etc. the other day, and
for Zane.
Can you hear me okay?
I can. You're talking about Zane, right?
Yeah, about Zane.
Cool. Keep going.
So anyways, I was just getting to know him a little bit. Something was messing up with the scale, so I had some time to talk to him. And I just asked, I'm like, so do you own this place or is your family own the place? And he's like, yeah, my family owns it, my aunt, blah, blah, blah. And then I said, oh, that's really neat. So you guys you're into owning your own business. Yeah. I'm like, well, are you okay with what you got going on, or do you ever consider other streams of income? Oh yeah, it's always smart to have other streams of income. Okay, well, I've got a friend that's launching an international nutraceutical company in the Houston area, and I think you'd probably be interested to talk to him. And I did tell him more about Kyani, probably than people would, just because I've got some proof. I've got the car and stuff.
Yep.
But I still put him on a 3-way with you because it makes it to where there's something that he wants to do. Yeah, to get to the next step. This, you've got to talk to this guy. So, and I've had to follow up with him probably 4 or 5 times so far. I've stopped in and mailed something today, and I tried to get him to watch his Zoom on Tuesday, but he was still at work. People kept walking in and whatever. But I've just had to continually drip on him and make sure I check in with him as a person. How's the business going? And then he brings it up. Oh yeah, I need to get back to that thing. I need to talk to your guy. I'm going to set up an appointment. But I don't actually even bring it up. I'm just like,
Yep.
How's it going?
I love it. That's so good. That's so good. Very good. I appreciate you sharing that, Sherry. And I hope y'all recognize the pattern out 2 of the 3 that we just heard from, for the one that didn't go, completely bonkers. But what was the common thread? Several exposures, not chasing them, but being there in a relationship and not from a transaction perspective, not being in such a hurry to close it before it's time to close the business and get it to the transaction, still in the relationship, still learning about the person. By getting there and in front of them and having that continuous interaction and more exposures, talking about 4 or 5 more exposures here again. And if you were at Diamond U, you heard me talk about it. It's going to take somewhere between 5 and 12 exposures most of the time. At least between 4 and 6 is where most of them are, but the average is between 5 and 12 exposures. And here we are talking about 4, 5, and 6 exposures, and it continues that on. Very rarely does, and for everyone that does jump, the very first time they hear you say, you keep your options open, additional income? I sure do. I'm ready to sign up. What do you got? Let me go ahead and get to the laptop. No, that happens once in a blue moon. You get a unicorn. But when that happens, you're going to then have the average is going to mean there's somebody that's going to need 22 times that you're going to have to sit with them and in some form or fashion have an interaction with them. The other thing is, you'll notice that that's not the only person that they're talking to. They've got 10 of these each in the hopper that they're working. They don't have one crop hoping that one crop comes in. Some of y'all have banked your entire existence of eating on one crop. You planted one seed, and you are looking at that one little fella going, come on, baby, grow. You have so much potential. You could feed all of us. Yeah, of course, every one of them can. But is that what you want to do? Probably not. Probably best that you plant 10 different crops. All right, so make sure that you guys are all out there planting a lot of seeds. Make sure you're doing what some great examples are here. This is wonderful. And then for the ones that did not share, it's either because you have a fear of typing or a fear of talking, that you didn't want to share that. You were afraid of what I might say. You were afraid of doing it wrong. You're afraid that you screwed one of them up. You're afraid of everybody thinking that you are an idiot and you did it wrong. Or you haven't been taking action. For whatever reason, you might have a very valid reason, and you're just getting back in the power hour. I don't want you to think I'm picking on you. I'm going, man, I just come back in after this time. He's just talking trash about me. No, this ain't about you. It's about everybody. So if you didn't speak up tonight, I'd like for next Thursday when I'm back on again, and I need to figure that out on my flight because I am flying to Miami. I need to make sure that I can pull all that off, but I'm 99% sure I will be able to. So for next Thursday, when I'm back on, or the next time I'm back on, I want y'all to have some stories. I want you to have some, here's what happens. I want you to have some examples of what you did. If it's perfect, bring that. If it was absolutely terrible, how it completed, like with Betty's where they hung up on her and wouldn't even give her the time of day. I want all of them. I want all of those to be out there because all of these are going to happen to you. If they haven't happened yet, I'm giving you a heads up, they're going to happen to you. Every one of these types of situations is going to occur if you'll keep taking action. So use these to give you the faith and the hope and the understanding that you can do this. And if you can do this, then you can show somebody else how to do this. And the next thing you know, you're walking away from your job. You're actually reaching that pinnacle of what you wanted to be able to do. So I hope this helped everybody. We're going to go ahead and call it a night. I'm going to hopefully unmute the lines so everybody can say good night. Thank you all for jumping on Power Hour, and we will talk to you at the next one. All right. Thank you, everybody.
Good night.
Good night, everyone. Thanks, Casey.
Good night, everybody.
Good night.
Thanks for jumping on.
Good night. Thank
Thanks
you.
for sharing, Betty.
Thank you.
Good night.
Casey.
Good night.
Bye, everybody.